When Fortnite launched in 2017, nobody could have predicted the impact it would have on the gaming industry. Throughout the last 7 years, we've seen some absolutely incredible seasons, but we've also seen some not so great ones as well. On August 1st, 2019, Fortnite Season X launched, and it was an absolute disaster from start to finish. Millions of players left the game throughout the course of this season. What made this season arguably the worst season in Fortnite's history? In today's video, we're going to go back in time and dissect where Fortnite went so wrong. Before I get into this review, I want to preface that this is just my opinion, and although it seems to be the majority consensus in the community, if you loved this season and it was your favorite Fortnite season, that's totally fine, that's totally your opinion, and you are absolutely entitled to it. But with all that being said, let's get right into it. When you think of Season X, you most likely thought about the infamous Mechs, and so I figured we'd get the elephant in the room out of the way right away. Mechs were giant robot suits that, although were designed to only be operational with 2 people, one talented player could easily wipe an entire squad in a matter of seconds. They were armed with an unbelievably powerful drum shotgun installed in their arm, as well as a powerful dash and stomp ability. As if this wasn't enough, each mech was equipped with a missile launcher that shot tons of missiles downrange that dealt high damage, which basically just obliterated any structure in its path and had a huge area of effect. In solos, it was possible to even team up with somebody and destroy any player in their path. Mechs also had tons of health, making them near impossible to take down before you yourself got killed. In fact, Epic Games actually acknowledged that they were overpowered, admitting that they were added to help casual players get kills and wins. To make matters even worse, Mechs were in the competitive scene for the entirety of this season. They were in arena and they were in tournaments. They never got nerfed. The only thing that they nerfed was the spawn rate up. If you thought Mechs were OP in a casual lobby, wait until you see some of the best players in the world use them. You know, there's not really much else to say about them. They were the most overpowered item the game has and probably will ever see. That's all I can say, but they are just one of the many reasons why this season was an absolute disaster. Season X also decided to introduce Rift Zones. These zones were named locations that were created by the scientists' Rift Beacons. They played a fairly large role actually in the storyline, and some zones were absolutely fantastic and knocked out of the park, like Gotham City or Pandora, but the list essentially ends there. Greasy Grove turned into Taco Time, which is the iconic mongrel meme, when every few seconds, every player in the zone was just forced to dance. Moisty Mire was turned into Moisty Palms, where every time you crouched, you turned into a physical prop. I have literally zero idea why Epic Games thought that this was a good idea at all. Sure, it's creative and it's fun, but from a gameplay integrity standpoint, it makes zero sense. Retail Row turned into a rift zone that was infested with zombies that absolutely nobody asked for. I don't know many people who like the zombies being in the game. They're a bother. They're a chore to deal with. Albeit, Sorry Suburbs and Tilted Town were okay, but certainly nothing really special. These zones, in practice, as previously mentioned, were a great idea, but in reality, they were a total mess. They missed several times and led to a very clunky experience when rotating throughout the map. There was a lack of fluidity throughout this map. And although very temporarily, and many of you may actually forget that this even happened during this season, I can't talk about Season X without bringing up the nerf to turbo building. For some reason, Fortnite decided to add a longer delay to turbo building, essentially slowing down building tremendously and making it impossible to really turbo build effectively. This would end up just being an awful decision, and Epic Games faced so much backlash that they were actually forced to revert the nerf after just one day. But it's not the fact that they had to nerf it, it's really the fact that they thought that this was a good idea in the first place, and it kind of showed where their heads were at with the game at this point. They were constantly trying to cater to the casual audience, and I understand why they were doing that, but that comes at a cost. And again, this is just another example of an awful decision that was made during the season that just did not land right with the majority of the community. And I also can't discuss Season X without talking about the loot pool. By the end of the season, there was so much stuff in the game that it made Fortnite feel like an entirely new game, and quite frankly, most of the loot pool was very forgettable. On the last day of the season, there were 5 ARs, 4 snipers, 5 pistols, 2 launchers, 2 shotguns, 2 SMGs, and a minigun, and that's just on the weapon side of things. Furthermore, items like the zapper trap and bush were just boring and unnecessary. This season's loot pool was extremely watered down and chaotic, which I understand some people might like, but it made it hard to get any type of consistent loadout throughout this season. And while this season was an absolute mess, there definitely were some positives that I'll acknowledge here. The battle pass with the throwback skins was pretty awesome, I think, but unfortunately gets overshadowed by Season OG. And I kind of want to make a point here that Season OG is what Season X wanted to, and to be honest with you, should have been. Not only in terms of the battle pass, but the map as well, right? Like, Season X was supposed to be, out of time, kind of going back in time. They brought back Dusty Depot, was a big marketing thing. It was bringing it back these locations, and they did that with the rift zones to an extent, but Season OG just did it better, to be honest with you. And as well as this, the black hole event, right, that concluded this season, in my opinion, this is the best Fortnite live event of all time and created a shockwave in the gaming stratosphere. This was such a massive event. The storyline this season was also fantastic and might be the best season we've ever seen lore-wise and story-wise. They just don't make them like that anymore. But of course, unfortunately, I believe that all these positives get overlooked by the aforementioned issues. This season tried to be innovative, but it all went horribly wrong. And that's it. This is my thoughts on Season X, where they went wrong. I was thinking about it the other day and decided that, wow, I forgot how bad this season was. I really need to make a video on this. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment with your thoughts below. I'd love to have a conversation down there with you guys. With that being said, I'll see you guys in the next one.